Coming up on EagleVision News, we give you an update on Biola's reopening plan.
We have an exclusive interview with one of Biola's top administrators.
And we take you to the field for the day in the life of an athlete.
All this and more coming up on EagleVision News.
Good evening and welcome to EagleVision News. My name is Ashley Grams.
And I'm Quinn Gorham. Now, Ashley, we're not on set at Studio B right now, are we?
No, we're not, Quinn. We're actually in a socially distant set from my apartment.
That's right. We look forward to giving you guys the same quality of news from the comfort of our own homes this year.
Yeah, so it sounds like this is the new normal, but I think people are taking steps to adjust.
And speaking of taking steps, you have an update on the situation at campus. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about that?
Biola University will remain closed for fall semester. On Thursday, September 17th, Biola students received an email confirming campus closure through the end of November due to COVID-19. LA County health officials announced they will not modify or review guidelines affecting colleges and universities until November, forcing Biola to stay remote. Although positive case numbers are down across LA County, numbers among young adults aged 19 to 25 have remained constant over the past month.
Coronavirus cases are downtrending in LA County. LA County's positive cases and testing positivity rate are decreasing and could allow the county to move forward in the reopening phases. LA County is in the most restrictive tier of California's 4-tier virus tracking roadmap. Public Health Director Barbara Ferrer said the county may move into a less restrictive tier in the month of October if the downward trend continues through Labor Day weekend. Biola University internal communication confirmed September 17th that there are no positive cases among residential students. And speaking of residential students, a lot of students aren't even in the La Mirada area right now, and they're dealing with other things.
Yeah, students are dealing with fires, poor air quality, and smoke all up and down the West Coast. Wildfires continue to burn across Southern California this week. The Bobcat Fire in Southern California forced a new wave of evacuations last Thursday as it approaches Mount Wilson in the San Gabriel Valley. The fire started on September 6th in the Angeles National Forest. As of Friday morning, the fire is just 9% contained and has burned more than 55,000 acres. The fire has impacted air quality in the Los Angeles area as the sky is filled with smoke and debris from the flames. Officials urge anyone with sensitive lungs to remain indoors until smoke has died down.
The Commerce Department announced its plans to start restricting access to the app TikTok starting this week. The department announced Friday morning that it would begin prohibiting distribution of the app on the App Store and Google Play Store on Sunday. The immensely popular video sharing platform has amassed almost 100 million users nationwide since its launch in 2019. Since then, it has become a sort of launchpad for hundreds of content creators. TikTok servers will remain online for the time being, but are expected to shut down completely on November 12, 2020.
#cancel Netflix has recently been trending on Twitter because of Netflix's new controversial film called Cuties. The French film has been under fire since the release of the film's poster back in August, and many have claimed that the film is a perfect example of child exploitation and crossing the very thin line towards child pornography due to the risky dance moves that the group of girls can be seen doing. The film's director, Maimouna Doucouré, told the Washington Post, in the film, Amy joins a group of girls preparing for a local dance contest, from which they craft increasingly risky routines, copying what they've seen on social media. Maimouna also added, I wanted to open people's eyes to see what's truly happening in schools and on social media, forcing them to confront the images of young girls made up, dressed up, and dancing suggestively to imitate their favorite pop icons. The film has sparked so much outrage that many are even canceling their Netflix subscriptions. A Twitter user posted #cancel Netflix, Dear Netflix, you don't have to show girls being sexualized to fight girls being sexualized. This long-term customer is done, end quote. Lee Strobel, former atheist turned Christian, as well as former award-winning legal editor of the Chicago Tribune and best-selling author of more than 20 books, one of which being The Case for Christ, tweeted, did we #cancel Netflix? Of course we did, end quote. And on the brighter side of the Netflix universe, Carole Baskin of The Tiger King is now a contestant on Dancing with the Stars. So all you hip cool cats can enjoy the dance moves. back to you in the studio.
Last week, Quinn went on campus to meet with Senior Vice President and Provost Dr. Deborah Taylor for an exclusive interview. Let's see what he found out.
I want to kind of go back for a second to back in March, when things initially moved online. What was kind of the university's process with that, and like what was going through you guys' heads? How did that go down?
Wow, yeah. That feels like 2 years ago, doesn't it? Yeah, so we were having meetings almost daily, the cabinet, as we were watching what was happening with COVID. And we did not want to have to close down the campus. So we were looking into how can we do all the measures that we can to make it safe for students to stay on campus and finish the spring semester. But as the cases kept rising and rising, the president put together a task force that involved the chief of campus safety, the head of student development, Andre Stevens, our VP, and then a person from my academic team. And they started just doing a deep dive into all the data. And the more they looked into it, they started advising us. And so it felt like we saw this shift where it started advising us, you need to be thinking about shutting down the campus. But we all had like so much excitement, like, well, it's only going to be for a couple months and then everything will be back to normal, right? So I don't think at that point in time, any of us would have predicted that by the fall we would be in the same place again.
And do you have something you want to say maybe to the students out there? Because this is an uncertain time. But students or parents out there watching this, is there anything that you want to tell them?
Yeah, there's so many things I'd love to tell them, but let me just say a couple. One is how much we are all longing for the day when we are all back together. So I think what's happening honestly inside of me during this time is trying to figure out, okay, people throughout history have lived through horrible events. This is probably one of the most difficult things I've lived through in my lifetime, of being socially separated from my family, not being able to travel. I have family on the East Coast that I haven't seen, and all of those things are really, really painful. And then the loss that is to us as a community to be together, that's a huge loss. But I keep trying to say, okay, God, you somehow designed for us to live right now in this period of history. So what is it you want to do in us? How do you want to transform us? What do you want to accomplish within our hearts and our souls during this time? And to just lean into that place so that we become who God wants us to be as a community, as individual believers, and as the church. So that's one important thing. And I think the last thing I would want to say is the team that has worked on preparing this campus, unbelievable. I am so impressed with the work that they've done. And so that makes me feel very, very safe to be on this campus. The protocols that are in place. So for those who would feel nervous, like, well, how can you make sure it's safe? I have no doubts that the environment that will create and the protocols that have been put in place are all designed. The number one factor was student safety. Even though the school will take a financial hit, we said, even if we take a financial hit, student, faculty, staff safety is the number one concern. So I guess I would want people to know that, so they wouldn't think, oh, you're just trying to bring students back sooner because it's hard on you guys financially to not collect room and board or whatever. But I can absolutely say, sitting in all those meetings, that has never been the number one concern. And that really impresses me with where this institution is. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Quinn. It was great to meet you and get to have this time with you.
Well, Ashley, I think it's really nice to know as students that our faculty and staff are meeting on a regular basis to talk about what it looks like as students in such an unprecedented time.
Yeah, I think it's good for students to hear that, especially when they're living distance lives, and a lot of people are struggling with mental health and other things.
Absolutely. And speaking of mental health, our reporter Brianna Bias brings you some advice on what you can do to better cope with this unprecedented time.
Thank you, Quinn. Yes, 40% of adults in the United States have reported mental health issues or substance abuse directly related to COVID-19, according to the CDC. The pandemic has pushed families into closer quarters, caused job loss, and resulted in feelings of loneliness for many Americans. Recent medical studies on mental health offer helpful suggestions for those who are or who know someone who is struggling with pandemic-related mental health issues. New research by Pennsylvania State revealed that social strains are directly related to unwellness. In order to avoid these kinds of strains, they recommend setting a consistent schedule despite sitting at home, as well as turning our attention to others who may need help. Studies have found that helping other people boosts feelings of self-worth and of hope. They also suggest finding ways to practice more self-care, with research specifically emphasizing sleep. Your mother always told you to get a full 8 hours, and now we have the science to back her up. The University of British Columbia released a study on Tuesday concluding that a lack of sleep results in more emotional responses to stressful events. Whether you're engaging with coworkers, family members, or a stressful homework assignment, setting a structured schedule and getting a full 8 to 9 hours of sleep may be just the tricks to help you avoid an emotional breakdown and ultimately find success this fall. Back to you.
I actually think sleep is one of the hardest things to get as a student because you're either doing homework or you're going to a job or...
Yeah, especially now. I think it was easier even when I was on campus, in the dorms, that sort of thing. But now that we're in this whole remote learning setting, there's no motivation. You don't have to get out of bed to go to your classes. You can just sit there on your laptop at 8 in the morning and chill in bed.
You end up scrolling on your phone and just forget what time it is.
Yeah, till 3, 4 in the morning. So
yeah,
that's been my experience at least.
I totally understand. Well, I think it's time we figure out what's going on with the weather. Our reporter, Natalie, can you fill us in?
Thanks, Ashley. This week you can expect temperatures to vary depending on where you are. I know here in Bakersfield it's cooled down to the mid-80s. In the Los Angeles region, you can expect warmer temperatures this week with unhealthy air quality, but smoke is expected to start clearing up over the weekend. Sunday through Monday, the temperature is expected to stay in the low to mid-80s with a spike of up to 89 on Thursday. The air quality will remain unhealthy for sensitive groups, but it is advised that everyone try to stay inside. Reporting live from Bakersfield, California, I'm Natalie Willis. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks so much, Natalie. Now our reporter, Michaela Hayes, is going to take you inside the life of a Biola athlete.
Today I'm on Biola University's campus, and we're going to walk around with the men's soccer team and see what it's like a day in the life of an athlete during COVID. First, we talked to the guys about their struggles living on such a restricted campus.
There's rules where, like, if you're caught not wearing your mask, it's like $100 fine, and the next time you get kicked off campus.
When building a relationship outside of the field usually helps it a bit more when you guys get on the field together, so that's kind of been difficult. But
Then we took a trip down to the field to see where their completely masked practices are held.
We have our head coach and our assistant coach out here, and so one will be on one side with half the team, and then the other coach will be on the other side.
Okay. Next, the guys showed us what they call Frank's Garage.
This is like our new weight room, just because we can't be indoors. You know, this is a better way to be kind of 6 feet apart from each other and still be able to do our weight training. So this is convenient that we have this parking lot with no cars in it.
we wake up at, I'll say 5:30. I personally wake up at 5. You know, just go through our prayers and come to the field at 6. Get a lift. After that, get some breakfast.
We walked through the desolate campus to get to the CAF.
First of all, the CAF is now grab and go, so that means we can walk in and pick from 4 different options for lunch.
Every day we have to fill out this COVID-19 daily screening.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's just basic 3 questions. If you have any symptoms, if you had any contact with people with COVID, or, you know, it's already hard enough to build relationship when you're able to be together, you know, with no restrictions. So now with restrictions, it's been kind of tough to do, like he said, build those relationships. But you know, you just gotta take it how it is and run with it. So it's been fun so far. Stay tuned for our season in January. Please come watch us if we're able to, and yeah, just stick with us, and hope you have a great rest of the semester for whoever's watching this.
This has been Michaela Hayes with EagleVision News.
Now for our reporter Caitlin Quisenberry to take us inside a Zoom call with a freshman at Biola.
Every day is a little bit different just because I don't have the same classes every day, but generally wake up, try to read my Bible, all that good stuff, eat some breakfast, do my Zoom calls.
College freshmen like Alex White are receiving their college educations, but without the opportunity of in-person classes or events.
It's hard to know what it real college would be like, because I didn't get to experience that. Us freshmen, we don't have anything to compare it to.
College freshmen for the year of 2020 have had a really hard go at it. They went from no senior year activities to no in-person college classes. And to make matters more difficult, now all they know is going to class through Zoom.
After a while, they say you get more fatigued over Zoom because like you're also like looking at yourself, and it's like polite to have your camera on for the teacher in the class and like being engaged, but also sometimes I'm like, I just want to turn off my camera so that I can like sit back and like be like myself.
Come spring semester, Alex hopes to have even the slightest of chances at experiencing a glimpse of the college life beyond the schoolwork.
At this point, I don't really care if we have like the big events or whatnot, but just being able to like interact with like other students and like kind of get the college experience of like meeting new people, making new friendships, like that kind of thing. And just being able to sit in a classroom because I do not like doing it online.
Reporting with the help of Zoom for EagleVision News, I'm Katelyn Quisenberry.
Well, Ashley, if I remember correctly, we both have siblings that are freshmen at Biola this year.
Yeah, we do, and they both missed their senior graduation, unfortunately, and I think they're both starting from home online.
Yeah, it's got to be tough, but I really do think Biola is doing a good job of bringing the community to them at home this year.
We have the new Biola app that people can get involved in, and the huddles, I think.
Lots of other things too. But that does it for tonight's episode of EagleVision News. As always, thank you guys for watching.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Biola EV. We'll see you next time.